Right, welcome back. Now, trade officials from EAC, COMESA and SADC countries are today meeting for the second day to address delays of the ratification of the tripartite agreement, which has been ratified by 11 countries out of the required minimum of 14 countries. Now, the agreement is aimed at easing trade across 26 countries and bolstering economic activity. We are now joined by Jimmy Mbogo with more details. Jimmy, good afternoon. Tell us more.
Well, indeed, a very good afternoon to you too, Nyakundi. Yes, as you rightfully said, today we are talking matters continental trade, and of course, one of the biggest conversation has always been the issue of free trade area, and that is an agreement that will see countries be within the African continent being able to do trade. And of course, the meeting that is currently going on inside the room behind us is, of course, the tripartite committee of the senior officials on trade, finance and customs and economic affairs, and they're also just trying to this meeting brings together members from COMESA, the East Africa community, and SADC. And what is the point of concern in this meeting is the fact that there are about 14 countries that are required to sort of sign the tripartite agreement for the free trade area to kick in, but so far it's only about 11 countries that have ratified this. And of course, the question that we had to pose is what is taking so long and what is the hold-up, and this is what we were told by the chair.
For many reasons, actually, for member states, they have many reasons for the ratification, and the most important thing is the national and the internal procedures. So for any member states, they should take several levels of the ratification. So they will take the procedure from the domestic level and then submit it to starting from the lower level to the higher level. So this is actually one of the main challenges, that not all the ratification process are the same in all member states. So each member state has its own ratification process. Most of the feedback we received from the member states usually that they are in the ratification process. So it doesn't mean that they are not going to ratify, but the process is going there. This is according to what we have. Maybe some member states not signed yet, so we are trying to push also for signing and the ratification. As I said, we are 29 member states, but 22 member states already signed the agreement. So we are trying to push for the signature and for the ratification, and I hope by our meeting today we can receive an update. We are also trying to make some recommendation to accelerate the ratification process, like by awarenesses, like by member states to be like a champion, to convene bilateral meetings with those member states who are not ratified yet. We are trying to check all the possibilities and ways to accelerate the ratification process.
Nothing comes easy, and that is why we have these negotiations. So these negotiations will be able to harmonize whatever divergences or conflicts that exist. Because if we don't rationalize them through these negotiations, then the challenge you are talking about is imminent. Yeah. So, but we are very, very hopeful, because remember, the continental agenda is being spearheaded by the African Union itself. Yeah. And it is through that agreement that also recognizes the existence of these risks and try to develop a mechanism for harmonizing the existing divergences.
Yes, Nyakundi, as you rightfully had, and also it comes down to the issue of different countries and the processes that they have to follow through. Some involve their parliament and also just the legislative arm of their governments, just to be able to see some of these ratification. Of course, they vary from country to country, but as you're aware, Kenya is one of the countries that was among the first member states to ratify some of these agreements, and we are yet to see the impact of this upon full ratification by the 14 member countries, just to be able to see. And of course, the other thing that comes to mind is the fact that there's been a huge conversation within the aviation industry saying that African countries need to adapt the open sky policy to be able to do to make trade easy between the within the African continent. And of course, there's some of the conversations that are currently going on here. We will be following up the conversation and we'll be keeping our viewers updated in our subsequent bulletins. But for now, back to you, Calvin.
All right, thank you so much.